Joined now by John Picerno, the Kansas City, Missouri defense attorney who is representing the parents of baby Lisa Irwin, brought into the case just a couple of weeks ago. And John, I want to ask you about that, particularly your approach to handling these kinds of cases versus the previous local attorney. Cindy Short was handling the case then. How is your approach different? Why do you think you were brought into this case?
I can't answer, why Cindy's no longer, and that's obviously between she and Joe. But every attorney's different. My approach to it is that that I'm not going to be speaking to the media consistently, and the only time I will speak to the media is when there is something to report. There is a new development in the case, and mainly I see my role as helping the parents through the process, helping them in the search for baby Lisa as much as I can help. Criminal defense attorney, I'm not an investigator, so this is a little bit unique for us. And obviously to make sure that her constitutional rights are protected.
She's not been charged. He's not been charged. The perception out there is, why lawyer up? Why do you need a lawyer if you haven't been charged and are supposedly cooperating?
Sure. And I have this discussion with my father all the time and with other people. And it's a common question. I think it's a good question. Generally speaking, someone who's going to be interrogated by the police should have a lawyer to give them advice as to what their rights are, when they can refuse to answer questions, and when they should answer questions. In this case, Debbie and Jeremy Irwin subjected themselves to 5 different interviews/interrogations, 2 without attorneys, where they agreed to waive their Miranda rights, or at least Debbie did, and speak to law enforcement on their own. The first time was 8 hours for Jeremy and 11 hours for Debbie. They did so. And they went back a second time, and they did so again without a lawyer. And it wasn't until the third time that a family member who's actually a law student suggested to them, hey, next time you go talk to the police, it'd be a good idea to have a lawyer go with you.
Well, let's talk about it, and I want to talk about that third interview, because I think there are some interesting developments there and how the case perhaps turned. But again, public perception, and you said the family's cooperating, 30 hours of interviews with police. The public perception is, you know what, if it's my baby, I'll talk to the police anytime, any day, 24/7. You're not allowing them to talk to police right now. Why?
Well, first of all, I don't think an attorney can not allow somebody to do anything. What our role is to give them advice about what's in their best
And
interest.
your advice is not to talk right now.
My advice is not to talk, so is Joe's. Our advice is for them not to talk, because there's nothing beneficial to be gained from it. Like I said, 30 hours of interviews. Everything that they had wanted to get by way of information, they already have. And it's the tone and the nature of the interviews that they've turned into interrogations, and they've been in an accusatory fashion. And that's really why we have advised our clients that no further interrogation is advisable to them. As far as the questions that they want answered, they obviously love their child and they want their child to be returned to them, and they want to help the police. Joe and I are free anytime. Any questions that any law enforcement official has, they should send our way. We'll get an answer for them.
Do you foresee a time when they might sit down with police again?
It's possible, yes. I wouldn't rule anything out.
Let's talk about the October 8th interview, because I think you've explained that was where the tone changed. Sean O'Brien, a local attorney, went with them. What happened there? Were they told at that point they were suspects?
Well, I don't know necessarily that they've ever been told that they were suspects. And the accusations from, it's my understanding specifically from KCPD detectives, began in the first interrogation of Debbie hours after it began. But what specifically happened in that third interrogation that Mr. O'Brien accompanied them with was that they went down there with the understanding that they were going to see some new evidence, some new leads that might help them find their child. And what happened was they were shown photographs from the home. And they were shown photographs of the window specifically, and they were told that basically that nobody went through the window, that it couldn't have happened that the way that Debbie in particular had said it had happened, that they didn't buy that there was a person who entered the home, and that it began down the path of, we know that you're a good mom and it may have been an accident, or the boys may have been too rough with the child, but now's the time, you need to tell us now, and it got quite heated. And it's my understanding at that point that Debbie just lost it and broke down, because she was expecting to hear some good positive news, and instead they're back to the same thing that ended the other interrogations in that they were accusing her.
Your view is they were lured down there under false pretenses.
Absolutely.
And then the accusation.
Exactly.
We know you did something. Something happened.
Exactly.